Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Gift Genius TV. I'm your host, Mr. Phil. The last video I made, I promised that I was going to talk about slavery being purely an economic move. It was an economic need that was fueled by economic gain. Slavery was not about white people hating black people. And it was not about oppression or anything like that. Those are byproducts of the economic move that was made that made slavery possible. You see, when white people came to Africa to get black people, what they got was cheap labor. As a matter of fact, the cheapest form of labor. Imagine what you can do if you can have 100 people that you don't have to pay their daily wage to, and you can tell them to do anything. Europeans were here paying each other for tasks for many years, and they saw the opportunity to now go to Africa and basically steal people from their land, because we were all just having fun in Africa, minding our own business. We didn't, you could call us illiterate. We weren't very savvy about the way of the world. So when the Europeans came, now Europeans, on the other hand, their land is harsh. So they've lived harsh life in Europe. Let me give you another quick example why I'm saying that. In Africa, you can live 365 days a year with a loincloth. That means that you don't even, if your skin, your body is bare for the whole year and you will not die. In Europe, if you try to live a week, you probably will not even last 2 days in Europe with just your loincloth, because the environment, the weather is cold. You die. And because of that, Europeans, their environment fashioned them to be cold-hearted. It was survival of the fittest. So by the time they came to Africa, they've had centuries of killing each other. They've had centuries of cold, bitter, conquest of each other, robbing, pillaging, slaughtering each other. Then they saw these people in Africa, carefree, no worries in the world. Their land was very mild. Their land was very cool and dandy. Everything was nice. Animals just living naturally. Human beings living naturally. Of course, when they got to Africa, we were very hospitable, because our land is hospitable, so it made us hospitable. Anyway, what that did was give the Europeans an opportunity to take advantage of us. So as human beings will do, they took advantage of us. They put us on ships. The ones that they didn't take the light to, they told them that, oh no, they're going to a better place. Our chiefs, our kings, or whatever they were then, they had no concept of the kind of evil that was lurking in the white man's heart. They had no concept of it. Because even in our cultures as Africans, even when you were a slave, you were still treated nice. In our culture, so when they say slave, even when they explain it to our people, Africans, we didn't still understand what being a slave to a white man would be. Because in our culture, we will have slaves that rose to become prominent people within the society, even though they were slaves when they began. We have many stories of that in Africa. So the chattel slavery that Europeans brought was a concept that was not even, Africans could not understand it. Okay, so let me now go back to what I was saying about it was purely economical. So now they had manpower. They brought them to Europe, they brought them to the Caribbeans to go and plant sugar cane, cotton, all this crop. Now they had an army of labor that they don't even have to pay Not even only not do they pay them, they even have slaves, have children, and children to work for free for their entire life. Now you and I, we get paid salary, a job per hour or whatever in the UK, in the US, even in Africa, we know people get paid salary now. Now imagine how wealthy will you be, you listening to me, if you had 1,000 people and all their effort, all their production, all their labor is yours to command, and you don't have to pay them a dime for whatever they produce, and all they produce is yours. So no wonder Europeans saw going to Africans to get slave, going to South America to get slave was a very lucrative thing, because you are basically gonna be instant wealthy person. Why? Because you now have the labor of people that you don't have to pay for. So that's why I say slavery was not about black or white. Let's not get it wrong. It was purely economics. Now let's spin it the other way. What actually stopped slavery was when slaves started revolting, and it gradually made less and less sense to keep slaves, because you gotta watch. They could come and kill you at night. You know, there were slave revolts. Sorry. You know, Haiti was one that happened that they covered up. You know, you can search YouTube and find out the story about the slave revolution in Haiti. You know, and so really and truly, they didn't stop slavery because they felt sorry for black people. That's ignorance. If you think that, you don't know what's going on. What actually happened was that, and even Abraham Lincoln himself, even though they give him the credit for emancipating slaves and stopping slavery, but he didn't. Wilberforce, all of them, no. Economically, it was getting less and less valuable to keep slaves, and it became, what should I call it, more of a hassle to keep slaves than not, especially when the Industrial Revolution was coming. So really and truly, why am I sharing all this? I'm sharing all this because I'm an African, and as an African, my heart desire is to empower other Africans. Now, yes, this includes African Americans too. If you're a black person, if you're a black man or a black woman on earth right now, you are an African. And my outlook and my passion is to empower Africans wherever they are. I don't care whether you're speaking French, I don't care whether you're speaking German, I don't care whether you're speaking whatever language you're speaking. My passion, Mr. Phil, and our passion at Gift Genius is to empower you, African. Why? Remember the first video? I talked about intelligent self-interest. You see, everything affects everything. Write that down if you can. Everything affects everything. You see, because we are not economically strong as Africans, it affects every black person on earth. So if we start turning that around, it will affect everyone, every black person on earth for the good. Let me give you an example. Obama became the president of the United States. Does that mean because Obama was the president of the United States, does that mean that every black man now is not successful? Heck no, you will tell me. Thank you very much. Because it is not an individual thing. It has to be a people wealth It has to be a people well thing for it to have any impact at all.